right, well, I can see the attendance number is climbing sharply. So, welcome to everyone. My name is Mark. I am the general manager here at Altos, and I am joined by my esteemed colleague, Amanda, who is a business strategist with us. We want to welcome you to today's Altos webinar. This is really a new format for us than what you may have been used to if you've attended any of our monthly webinars in the past, but we're really excited about this new structure. If you are brand new to Altos, we deliver real-time housing market data that helps agents like you answer the question, how's the market? And our goal is to allow you to do that with confidence and ultimately authority. So our platform truly goes beyond what you might have access to as lagging sales data or indexes and gives you leading indicators that you need to stay ahead of a really shifting market, especially the market today, and guide your clients with clarity. So today, we are going to explore what the latest data is telling us and signals that you can use to help your clients stay ahead of the game. So each of these monthly webinars moving forward will focus on a specific market. And today we are looking at Texas. We're going to be looking at what's moving, what's slowing, and what really you can expect next. So whether you're working with buyers or sellers, this is a chance to learn how data allows you to sharpen your edge, build that market expertise, and become the agent that is never second guessed. So although we're going to focus today's insights on Texas, I am going to spotlight what local signals mean for your specific markets and on a national level, and also help you better communicate with your clients. So at the end of my session here, before I pass over to Amanda, I'm also going to talk about the broader macro trends that we're seeing, and that is applicable to everyone. So please do stick around. So once I've wrapped up with some market updates, I'm going to pass to Amanda, and she's going to show you inside the Altos platform how you can access data for yourself and explore your markets and better understand how the functionality of our platform helps you track market data, but probably more importantly, share those insights with your clients. So please feel free to use the chat function, ask whatever questions that you have. Our team is actively in the chat answering questions. A common question that we see in all of our presentations is, how is my market doing? Unfortunately, in a lunchtime, roughly 30-minute webinar, we don't typically have the time to review every single market in depth. But there is good news, which is that Altos does have data specifically for your market. And we want you to learn more about your market and access these market reports. So we are all great at multitasking. I am guilty of it myself on many a webinar. So let's be real and let's do some multitasking. If you haven't already signed up for an Altos account, there is a link in the chat right now. Click that link. We are offering 3 free market reports to all of our users. There's no credit card required. Takes about a minute and a half to get set up. So by the time that I'm done talking and starting to talk about the market insights that we're digging into today, you can have them all. You can have an Altos account for free. Next, how do you read that data? Schedule a consultation with our team. There is another link in the chat right now. Click that link, schedule time with Amanda or with Jeff, who is in our chat right now. We will take the time to dive into the market report, help you understand what things mean, how to read the signals, and ultimately how to use the platform to drive your success. So if you have taken my advice and signed up for the account, you probably already have access. If you haven't, you still have time. Click that link, get in the platform. But we are going to jump right in, and we are going to start within the Altos platform. So we are taking a look right now at our Altos dashboard. And what Altos allows you to do is look at a snapshot as well as a deep dive on specific markets. So as promised, we're going to take a look at Texas first. So as of June, and this is weekly data that updates every Monday morning, the median list price in Texas is about $389,000. And what we're tracking is that's actually down about 1% year over year. When we look at days on market, we're at about 110 right now. That is an increase. And with that increase, we are tracking and reporting that there is a moderate slowdown in price growth, specifically in Texas as a whole. A key factor driving that is inventory. Inventory right now is at about 137,000 active listings, which is a 30% year over year increase. Now you can see the seasonal trends here, and it is not totally out of the ordinary that right now we are in a pretty steep increase. About 48,000 of these new listings were added in May alone. We expect June to be a similar month for Texas as a whole. So you as an agent, you look at these numbers, What does it mean? How do I translate it? Ultimately, this is more choice for your buyers. It's a bit more negotiating power, and it's obviously pressure on sellers to price strategically. And that strategic pricing is something that I want to dig into a little bit more on every one of the markets that we're going to cover today. So there has been a lot of talk about pricing, and if you're on social media, there are a lot of information out there about how price decreases, price cuts are a signal that the market has tanked. So what I want to do is actually take a look within our data at properties with price decreases, price cuts. What we can see is right now we are sitting at a higher point at about 43% of all homes that are listed are getting at least one price cut. But context here matters, and this is what the data can help you with. When we look at the lowest percentage that we've ever had in price cuts, that's about 17, 18%, or 1 in 6 properties that's listed on the market is getting a price cut. And that's in June of 2021 when there was no inventory on the market at all. So this is not signaling that there is a market crash. It's signaling that in this market and in every market, it is very common to have price cuts. The national average for a price cut or price decreases is actually 35%. So we are slightly above normal. We are not at 70, 80, 90%, which maybe the doom and gloomers are saying is actually where we are and signaling that we are in a horrible place as a housing market. But because there are these signals out there within your clients, specifically with sellers, we do recognize that there is a pretty significant, COVID hangover, if we want to call it that. Sellers at this point have fairly unrealistic expectations for pricing strategy as well as days on market. So what this Altos data can help you do is really understand that every state, every city, every zip is telling a different story. And moreover, the specific market segments within a market are telling a different story as well. So one thing that Altos data does is it allows you to break down a market into specific quadrants here. And what we can do within the platform is zoom in and take a look at the type of properties that are having the least amount of price cuts and the most amount of price cuts. So as we can see here, when we look at the upper 90%, the upper 25% of the market, they're having the highest level of price cuts. Slightly different conditions exist within other areas. So we can go a little bit closer on specific markets. Again, every market's different. Let's take a quick look at Austin, Texas, a city that has been in the headlines lately. Again, we have a snapshot view, but we also have a deep dive. When we look at Austin, we are reporting that home prices are cooling. We've seen a fairly flat and now have entered a downward trend, about a 5.4% decrease in median list price from last year, and we're currently sitting at 709,000 as the median list price. Inventory is up. Texas is a state that has had higher inventory, as we talked about a minute ago, but when we compare it year over year, it's only a 17% increase. So different than Texas as a whole. However, when we look at the average days on market, again, comparing these common stats and going more to a granular level, we're seeing that the days on market is roughly the same as it has been for the past 3 years. What this is signaling to us and what it can signal in your market is that the market is still strong, it's stabilized, but it's no longer that hyper competitive market where homes are selling in 10 to 15 days. So let's think for a second how to communicate this data to your client. You're working with a buyer and they say, my friends have told me that in Texas, there is a massive inventory coming online. Well, when you look at specifically Austin, inventory is up 50% less than Texas as a whole. Homes are selling 30% faster than Texas as a whole. So really helping them understand how this local data applies to them and the national or state data really does not. Now, we do allow within our system national, state, regional, city, and zip. So would, again, encourage you as you're looking through the platform to add those market reports and to better understand contextually how your specific zip code fits into a city, how that city fits into a region, how that region into a state, and the state into the nation. So we are going to dive into another city here really quickly, which is Dallas, Texas. Again, every market is going to be different. When we look at inventory within Dallas, it is tracking a bit closer to what we've seen on a state level, about 33% increase year over year. What we are seeing differently than Austin with that price increase and again, the inventory is double year over year what we're seeing in Austin. What we're seeing in median list price is that it is pretty stable. It's actually up 2.6% year over year. So what this really does is paint the picture that the Dallas market is still strong. It is different than other markets, and that increased inventory is helping buyers with choice, but not really impacting the demand that we're seeing, and obviously the pricing that we're seeing as well. So let's talk about another scenario here. You have a client that sees Dallas data, right? And they say, wow, median list price is flat. And this is a seller. Let's say your client's a seller, and they go to list their condo. And you need to make the distinction that a single family home and a condo market is going to be significantly different in every market. So let's look at that specifically. We'll go to condos and we'll go to median list price. We've seen a pretty steep decrease, 12% decrease in condos when we compare it to a 2% increase in single family homes. Inventory, completely different story. A 60% year over year increase in condo inventory in Dallas specifically. So with the Altos data, you can truly help your client understand not just their market, but their unique property within the market. And that truly tells a story that national data can't tell the same story as local data, and generalized local data can't tell the same story as specific local data. So the more specific you can get, the better. So we've talked for a second about the Texas market and some of these signals, but there are some macroeconomic trends that are impacting everyone on this call. So I want to take just a minute to talk about that. So when we look back to 2022, we saw that home sales dropped sharply as mortgage rates jumped. And we fast forward to today, we still have those elevated rates. Consumer confidence is shaky at best. Property taxes and insurance concerns are bubbling up all across the country. And anyone that's watched the news, there are some global tensions that are rattling the markets in significant ways. But what's happened to housing demand nationally? It is still quite resilient. When we look at last week's data, purchase applications were up 20% year over year. And that's one of the strongest weeks we've seen in years. And in fact, we've had 19 consecutive weeks of positive year over year purchase application growth. And that is not normal for a high rate environment under normal circumstances. What it does point to is the fact that there is a fundamental demand that still exists within the market, and that's deeper and stronger than many may realize. So, a key thing to spotlight to clients. Also talking about last week, weekly pending sales, over 42,000 homes went under contract last week. And we compare that to 69,000 homes the same time last year. So again, we zoom out to the total pending sales across the country. We're looking at about 405,000 homes under contract right now, which is slightly ahead of 2024, even with the 7% mortgage rates and the other macroeconomic factors that I mentioned a second ago. Now, we did talk about this a second ago, but inventory. In Texas, inventory is up. There are across the country about 825,000 single-family homes on the market. That's 33% more than last year. But when we contextualize it, what you see on this gray line is 2021. We are still 2020, we are still below historic levels in most markets. But again, when you look at the state and local data, it's going to be completely different. There are certain areas, specifically within the Sun Belt, that are seeing inventory grow significantly faster than other markets that are considerably below historic highs. So what's the big takeaway here? To me, it really is that perspective matters. Even in a truly challenging macroeconomic environment, the housing market is still proving to be resilient. There is a strong appetite to buy. Inventory is rising, but everyone on this call needs to be really careful about how we're presenting this and setting the proper expectations. We need to be more realistic if we're working with sellers about pricing strategy. There is always an opportunity to look within the data. If you're staying close to that data, you can help your buyers and sellers make informed decisions. And ultimately, that's what we want to help you do. So I am going to pass over to Amanda, who is going to take a deeper dive into the Altos platform and its features. Hopefully, some of these features can help you tell your market story and, more importantly, distribute your insights to your sphere of influence and help you grow your business. So, Amanda, I'm happy to pass off to you so that you can take us deeper into the platform.
Yes, hi everyone, and thanks, Mark, for your great Texas market overview. Now, y'all may be asking, how can I have this data? How can I have these reports? And more importantly, how can I use it in my everyday business? Well, first off, if you haven't already, be sure to sign up for your free report. The link's been in the chat. I'll give you a second in case you need, but yes, do sign up for your free report. And now I'm going to go into more of our Altos tools. Yes, we have a great report, but there's so much more to Altos. First, we have our dashboard. When you subscribe, you're going to have a dashboard. You're going to have reports, contacts, campaigns. The reports page, this is where all your reports will be housed. So when you first sign up for your free 3 reports, you'll have 3 snapshots, 3 tiles in your reports page. And so you'll have a regional report, a county report, and that zip code report. Once you're in, you're going to probably want to add more reports. So you're going to add individual reports, upgrade to a paid subscription to have a bulk amount of reports. And this is where they'll all funnel and you'll have easy access. Now, you may have all of these reports, but maybe you have a handful that you really hone in on each week. So you can favorite your favorite reports, those that you use all the time, and then they'll show up on your favorites dashboard. So it brings them front and center, easy access, your market center, if you will. And kind of as you had seen with Mark, each report has its tile here, the snapshot. You can click on the snapshot, the window here to get the full report, or just stay here and look at the snapshot. One fun feature for the snapshot, you can show weekly changes. Oops. All right, there we go. This will show your weekly changes each week. And you can download this image. So you have your reports, you have your favorites. Next, you'll want to customize your reports. Here you can add your headshot, your logo, both as I have. Whatever it is, you'll create this image and you'll upload it. You'll give a weekly local insights title. You can change this up, add your contact information, and you can take it a step further by changing the color scheme. So you see I have blue. That could be any color under the sun. You'll hit save, and then all your reports are updated all at once. So now you have your reports, they're branded, they're ready to go. Well, now what? Now you're going to want to set up your contacts. Depending on the subscription level, you have access to contacts and campaigns. And so contacts, I'm sure you have a lead list of your own with contacts, with clients, past, present clients, and you can add them and upload them. We give you a CSV file to follow the template, and what you're going to do is you're going to assign each contact a report and then an email campaign ID so that they start to receive this report each week. Automatically takes time off your calendar. We also integrate with these CRMs, makes it even easier. So you have your contacts. I mentioned campaigns. These are email drip campaigns. Now you can set up as many of these as you like, and you can decide how often they are sent. So you can send them once a week, every other week, monthly, quarterly. So depending on the bucket of folks that are in the campaign. So if you've just worked with a buyer, you're going to pop them into your previous buyer's campaign. So you're not going to want to send the report every week, but maybe stay top of mind through the year and send it quarterly. But those that you're working with right now, you'll want to make sure that they're in a campaign that's sending out once a week. And I'll show you the structure of the email. We'll say, hi, here's this week's report, or here's your quarterly report. And then depending on the contact, it'll have the link or links to the reports that they follow. And then each email campaign, you'll type up your note, what you want to say. Always have a call to action. I can't stress this enough. I always mention it when I talk to brand new agents or those that have been in the industry for decades. Always have a call to action. You want them to engage with you and your reports. And then your branding will autofill. What's great here is you'll be alerted to when folks look at the campaign, they open it, and then within your contacts, you can see which reports your contacts look at and when. So you can kind of filter out to see who's looking the most, who's looking the least, which areas are getting the most traction. Social media, I'm sure you all dabble in social media. We can help with that. So you decide which report you want to share. You go to its share button. And I'll use Facebook here as an example. You'll decide, okay, well, which visual do I want to post that day? You'll hit share. It'll take you to, let's say, Facebook, give you extra space to type something to go along with it. And then you'll hit post. And in the image, everyone will see that week's data and they can click on it and it'll bring them to the full report. Now I have two sets of my agents. One side, they love social media. They know all the ins and outs. That's their jam. Then the other half are like me. Okay, great. You're giving me the image and the link to the report, but what do I type to go along with it? So for folks like that may struggle a little, I'll say pull from the report, or this 2-page explainer. When you subscribe, you'll have access to this, or if you meet with me or Jeff, we'll share it as well. But it's 2 pages. The first page is great to have on hand to understand the parts of the report. But the second page, when it comes to social media, if you need a little help, we can kind of help write that script. So we have a signal section, and these are all great discussion points to base off of. So each week, our reports are updated every Monday morning. So I always suggest for those that need a little help with social media, like myself, Monday, sit down, look at the reports, look at the signals, write that content for the whole week right then and there. It'll save you time in the long run. Makes life a little easier. The last tool I'd like to share is our embed tool. So if you have a website or a blog and you want to embed visuals, you can. We give you the code to do so. So what you'll do is you'll want to decide, okay, out of the reports that I subscribe to, which ones do I want to pull data from? And then you can decide which visuals you want to share. And you can have a whole page of these. I've seen some agents, they have them for each market, like 30 visuals, and that's great. So you can embed, set it, forget it. These visuals will update themselves every week. And so you can see the data here, or you can click on it and it'll take you to the full report. And it's super easy. So you decide, like I said, which report do I want to pull from? And then you'll go to the embed button. You'll decide, okay, I want the market profile. We give you the code for you or whoever manages your website. You give them the code, they tell them where you want it displayed, they'll set it, forget it. It'll update each week. And here, there's lots of fun things here in the embed button. So you can download an image. So if you're using mailers, you want to include the real-time market profile on a postcard, you can download that image and send it in to your printing company. You can also embed a lead form to capture folks' information, or a search box so they can look for reports. Lots of fun things. So one thing I'd just really like to emphasize is Altos is built to keep you ahead, whether you're analyzing a single zip code or tracking trends across an entire metro. Our data helps drive smarter conversations and more confident decisions. We hope this session gave you a clear view of how to read the market and use Altos as your competitive edge. Whether you're advising clients, planning strategies, or staying on top of those fast-changing trends, we're here to give you the clarity and the tools that you need. If you ever want guidance on setting up reports, adding more reports, embedding reports, or turning your data into lead gen content, we're always here to help. You can meet with me or Jeff. We're here all the time, and we can share the link in the chat to set time with us. And a huge thanks to you, Mark, for the great market insights. And thanks again for everyone for joining us today. And we really do look forward to seeing you next month.
Thanks, everybody.